Hello! So I wasn't going to make a video about this, but I got really excited and I couldn't help myself. I keep watching videos about this online, prepping for Inktober, and I had to make one of my own. Welcome, my name is Lauren. I make videos from a beginning artist's perspective. If it works for me, maybe it'll work for you too. So let's jump into it. I want to talk about how I'm preparing for Inktober, which is coming up in just a few days now. Inktober, it'll be my first time participating in this challenge because I'm new to both art as well as posting my art online. Inktober is a month-long art challenge originally created by Jake Parker, but it has evolved greatly since then into many different mediums, many different ways. Ink is still seems to be a very predominant common thing that people use and are trying to improve during that month, but it's sort of just a good time to spend a month practicing your art, connecting with other artists, posting it online, sharing it. And something that's really cool about it is that people use similar prompts. And although there are lots of different prompt lists, you can follow the prompts of that creator and see how other people interpret that word. So I'm going to be following a creator called Your Moss Princess for Mosstober22 is the hashtag, so hashtag Mosstober22. On my Instagram, I asked any advice, and all of the advice that came in was 1, don't take it too seriously, and 2, you can always prepare a little bit beforehand if you want. So I took that to heart and I've been preparing, trying to sort of look at the prompts beforehand and think about what I might want to sketch, making sure my materials are ready to go and that I feel comfortable with them. And I'm really excited. So I would like to share specifically which materials I believe I'm mostly going to be using during this challenge. So number 1, being that I'm not going to be feeling super confident, especially every day. Maybe some days I'll go right in with ink. But for those days that I'm not, a pencil and some erasers. This is a pencil that I've had it for so long, I don't even know what brand it is or where it's from. But a mechanical pencil and a sort of regular eraser and a kneaded eraser. I now feel confident enough knowing how to use this. So I'm enjoying using the kneaded erasers. Next, I have used microns for a long time, even beyond art for many things, bullet journaling, writing lists. I just have loved microns since I knew that they existed. But recently I tried the Faber-Castell Pitt artist pens in black, and I love them. I don't know whether it's my microns, maybe I've gotten a little bit old, but these being new are just so juicy. And I'm finding myself using these more and more. So these came in a set with 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and a brush tip. They work beautifully, and like I said, because they're new, they're so juicy. I should maybe just even buy one new micron just to compare whether it is just the fact that they're new or if I maybe like them more, which is crazy. I would never thought I'd say that. I love microns. I have a jelly roll in white. I find for me this works best to add any white back in as I see fit. I also like gouache for that sometimes, but I'm still really working on being able to be consistent with gouache and be able to make it do and put it where I want it to be. So the jelly roll hasn't let me down. So it'll be coming along for the ride. My favorite brush pen, though, is the Pentel Pocket Brush pen. Pentel Pocket Brush just has the most beautiful bristles and makes just absolutely beautiful lines. As well as I use this often if I'm shading in large areas in black. This makes it go quickly and it makes it look good. It seems to be a blacker black if there is really such a thing in the world of ink. I'm sure there is, but it does a beautiful job. And it comes with extra cartridges when you buy it. So if you're running low, it comes with extra cartridges. I'm thinking about inking my Lamy Safari All-Star up with, I only have 2 kinds of ink. So with this Absolute Brown ink by Waterman. This is water soluble, so I wouldn't be able to do watercolor over it, but this Lamy just doesn't seem to like the other ink that I have, which is an India ink, and they say not to put it in, but some people seem to think that it doesn't really cause a problem. For me, if I'm not constantly using the pen, it does dry out and I have to like re-ink it. So this works in here, but only sort of for a couple days. So I'm thinking maybe about putting this brown ink in here and doing that occasionally on a few days. I have in this Lamy a converter, so you can put in whatever ink you want and you just turn it and it pulls the ink. Actually, when you do that, it's attached. You put it in the jar and you twirl it up to fill it up. So I'm thinking that's what's going to go in my Lamy. About a month ago, I did purchase this Sailor fountain pen, which is made in Japan, and it has what's called a Fude nib on it, so F-U-D-E. And what this nib looks like, the nib on this has this little lift at the end, which makes it very cool. When you hold it more flat, you can get a really, really thick line. And if you tilt it up a little bit, you can get a much thinner line. If you tilt it up a little bit more, you can get an even thinner line. And if you hold it upside down, it can be even thinner. So especially these like vertical lines, I just think are so cool. The line variation and the texture. I'm excited to be using that. So currently in this pen, I have the ink cartridge that it came with, but I think I'm getting low because of how much ink that it uses. You seem to run out pretty quickly. It did come with 1 extra cartridge, so I did also buy the converter. So if it does run out, I will use the converter. Is another twist one, similar to the Lamy pen. So that should work well. The only waterproof ink that I have is this Higgins waterproof, because when I started using fountain pens with, I think it was mostly sort of bullet journaling, but I still like to put like a watercolor background or that kind of thing in. This was the first one I bought, and I thought I should probably use up this ink before I bought any others, even though it doesn't play nice with fountain pens. It clogs them up sort of within a couple days. So I might be doing a lot of pen cleaning during the month of October, but I'm very excited. The other material that I have are then for watercolor. So I'm going to be using my favorite collection of watercolors. Although I have more colors, I've sort of collected everything that I really love into this one smaller palette. And I find having sort of this more limited palette with colors that I love, the artwork that I'm producing, I like more. So I keep using it. I have 2 brushes that are going to be my go-tos, which are both by DaVinci. One is a round synthetic in the size 8, and one is a Casino, which is a bit more expensive of a brush, but it's very nice. It picks up so much water. It just lays it down beautifully. And when I am at home and not painting outside, even though I have this sort of small travel tin, I use it in, let's move these out of the way. Use it in this large butcher's tray for mixing, so that I'm not restricted to just this area to be mixing colors. It happened that just before Inktober, or just before sort of fall was approaching here, and this idea of Inktober came up. I'd never heard of this before until it started not blowing up on Instagram, because obviously this has been going on for many years and I was just unaware, but people just sort of started talking about it, and it seemed like this sort of snowball that started rolling. I just happened to have bought a new sketchbook because I filled up my last one that I was working in. And I had decided that I wanted to try a larger size. So this is an A4 size. It is by Stillman and Byrne, and this is their beta series, which is for dry and wet media, watercolor, and ink. So it's heavier, 270 gram per square meter. In the A4 size, which is about 21 by almost 30 centimeters, so almost a foot in the vertical direction. And the beta series means it's like for the watercolor and such, and it has a bit more tooth. It's a cold press paper, so the paper has a little bit of texture to it. Versus I think it's the Z one that's smooth, that is the hot press. So I have been working in here a little bit, and what I've been enjoying about it is just the absolute giant size that it is. So I swatched out my watercolors and my pens and was trying a couple sketches. This is the one of the first times I've tried drawing an animal, so he is a cute little bat, but it's going to be an interesting long month. It's definitely going to be a challenge. The prompts seem to make you have to try things that you don't normally try. And then I swatched out my pencil crayons, and this was a sunrise at my house the other day. I was trying some different things. We won't talk about this. I wrote all of the prompts down the left-hand side. I do also have a Google Doc that I've been collecting reference images on and ideas of what I think I would like to do. But in my actual sketchbook, I made a calendar just so I could easily be able to sort of look at what day of the week each prompt was, and then the prompt list. So for Mostober 22, it's paint your plant, sharp, tattoos, make a poster, monochrome, unconventional vase, and then day 7, a day of rest. So this seemed very approachable for someone who is a beginning artist and someone who's never tried Inktober before. So the prompts, I had ideas for them, and then rest. That sounds good to me, because I do art every day, but I don't necessarily finish something every day. So a day to catch up / rest would be great. So then there's tarot, an unfamiliar medium, which, I didn't get out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the unfamiliar medium. It might either use gouache or pastels, both of which I don't got any skills. I think either of those would count. I haven't quite decided what I want to do for that day. So day 10, something red, homesick, 1 hour only, vintage, another day of rest. So every Friday is a rest day. Magic, something hairy, favorite fruit, shrink, stretch, plant person, that's one I'm a little bit scared about because I don't really draw or sketch people ever. I'm going to try. I'll give it a go. Bones, another day of rest, rotten moldy, fish, which I'm very excited about. There's so many fish paintings that I love, and I've never tried to draw a fish before, so I'm excited for this day. Duplicate, piercing, bugs, miniature, rest, then spikes, still life, and the last day is pen only. What I'm doing is I made myself a Google Doc. I'm putting down ideas and then some reference photos, including I'm going back to trips that I took 10 to 15 years ago and using some of those for my reference images, being that they're all images that I guess I have rights to because I'm the one who took those pictures. Anything that I'm going to be involving, like a building or something like that, I'm trying to use my own images, my own pictures as my reference images. But something like a hedgehog, I don't have access to a hedgehog picture, so I'm just grabbing something online to help me draw a hedgehog. So these are little thumbnails of just trying to like think out what I'm trying to do. This is the first time I'm actually trying this idea of thumbnails. Everyone seems to recommend it. And now that I've tried even just a couple, I really like it too, because often I get going and then I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this or that. I assumed that doing a thumbnail would take a ton of time, but they were real snappy, and I think they're going to make the whole process a lot easier. Tonight, after I'm done with this video, I'll be finishing sort of the rest of the prompts and drawing what I think I might be wanting to do. So are you doing Inktober? Have you done it before? Any suggestions for me? Or is there something that you're particularly worried about for this year? Or is it just breezy, one completed drawing a day? Are you using an interesting medium? I got lots of questions. Thanks for watching this video today. If you like this video, give it a like. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. I'd love to have you around. Hope you're having a great day. Okay, bye!